Hello, old sport, and welcome back to A Rose Within the Thorns, where we prune the confusion around English so your understanding grows as you read. This is Season 3, Episode 8, focusing on the Great Gatsby. The previous chapter was loud, emotional, and explosive. This chapter is quite the opposite. Chapter 8 is quiet. It's almost still. After the confrontation and the accident, the novel pauses, and in that stillness, Fitzgerald gives us the clearest understanding of Gatsby we've had so far. This is no longer a chapter about mystery, it's a chapter about meaning. So first, let's carefully walk through what happens. Nick cannot sleep after the events of the previous night. Before dawn, he goes to Gatsby's house, and Gatsby has stayed awake outside Daisy's home until 4 in the morning, waiting in case she needed him. But she never came out, and Tom never harmed her. Nick urges Gatsby to leave Long Island and move on. Gatsby refuses. He will not leave Daisy behind. Gatsby then tells Nick the full story of their relationship. When he first met Daisy in Louisville, he fell deeply in love with her. He also knew he did not have the wealth and status to match her world, so he allowed her to believe that he was richer than he really was. To him, Daisy represented not only love, but everything he associated with success, beauty, and belonging. When he left for the war, she promised to wait. Instead, she married Tom, whose position and approval from her family made him a secure choice. Later that morning, Gatsby's gardener suggests draining the pool because autumn is approaching and leaves will clog it. Gatsby refuses. He says he's never used the pool and wants to swim in it just once. Nick eventually leaves for work, but before he goes, he turns back and tells Gatsby he is worth more than Tom, Daisy, and their friends combined. Meanwhile, at the garage, George Wilson spends the night grieving Myrtle's death. He becomes convinced the driver of the yellow car was also Myrtle's lover. Interpreting the billboard of the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg as the eyes of God watching over him, he believes he must take revenge. Wilson traces the car to Gatsby's house. He finds Gatsby floating on an air mattress in the pool and shoots him, then shoots himself. Nick returns to discover Gatsby dead in the water. Gatsby dies, still waiting for Daisy to call. So in this chapter, Gatsby finally speaks honestly. Earlier he described achievements and adventures. Now he describes emotion. His love for Gatsby was never only about the person herself. Daisy represented a world he felt excluded from. Her wealth, her home, her confidence, and her social ease all symbolized the life he wanted to belong to. Gatsby believed that if he could become successful enough, he could return to that moment in Louisville and make it permanent. This is the heart of his dream. It was not just to be with Daisy, it was to make the past real again. Nick recognizes something Gatsby cannot. Gatsby is pursuing the future. He's trying to live inside a memory. Nick's statement to Gatsby that he is worth more than others is important. For most of the novel, Nick observes rather than openly judges. Here he finally speaks directly. He recognizes Gatsby's flaw, that inability to accept reality, but he also recognizes Gatsby's sincerity. Gatsby believes in something larger than comfort or security. Tom and Daisy protect themselves. Gatsby commits himself completely, even when it harms him. Nick does not admire Gatsby's action. He admires Gatsby's capacity to hope. At the same time, George Wilson is searching for meaning in tragedy. The billboard eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg take on new importance. Wilson interprets them as the eyes of God watching and judging. He believes Myrtle's death requires justice. The reader understands something Wilson does not. The eyes are not divine. They're just an advertisement. Wilson gives them meaning because he needs a moral explanation for his suffering. Fitzgerald suggests that people will impose meaning on the world when reality feels unbearable. The weather changes noticeably in this chapter as well. The extreme heat of the previous day disappears and autumn approaches. The gardener wants to drain the pool because summer is ending. Gatsby refuses to accept that. His decision to swim is symbolic. He acts as though it is still summer, just as he acts as though the past can still exist unchanged. His death occurs at the exact moment he refuses to acknowledge time moving forward. The tragedy is not only that Gatsby dies, it's that he never accepts the world as it is. Gatsby does not run. He does not hide, he waits. He believes that Daisy will call. Nick imagines that in his final moments, Gatsby may have realized how empty the world feels without a dream sustaining it. The dream gave his life direction and meaning, even if it was based on an illusion. This chapter shifts the reader's understanding. Gatsby is simply a man who failed. That's a tough thing to think about. He's a man whose strength, his hope, and belief in possibility also became his weakness. So by the end of chapter 8, Gatsby's story is over, but the novel is not finished. His dream never existed in the way he imagined, yet it shaped his entire life. Fitzgerald does not present Gatsby as foolish. Instead, he presents him as tragic. Gatsby believed so completely in the possibility of a perfect past that he could not live in the present. Next chapter shows us what happens after the dreamer is gone and how the world responds to his absence. Until then, make sure you read carefully and notice how this chapter changes how you feel about Gatsby compared to when you first met him. Because sometimes understanding a character does not come from watching their success. It comes from understanding what they refuse to abandon. This has been A Rose Within the Thorns, where we prune the confusion so knowledge can grow.